Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's lecture on LinkedIn. For some of you who already have a LinkedIn profile, part of this lecture will be review. But regardless if you are new to LinkedIn or have been using it for years, you'll still want to pay attention to the lecture to help you with this week's module assignment. At the end of the presentation, I will demo some of the key features that makes LinkedIn a valuable and powerful networking and job search tool. Today, I will cover some quick facts about LinkedIn. I will also cover why LinkedIn is important and why you should use it. Then the lecture will jump into creating a profile, and I'll talk about the do's and don'ts and how to optimize your profile. Lastly, I will talk about engaging on LinkedIn, connecting with other and networking. Let's get started. So what is LinkedIn? LinkedIn is the world's largest social network for professionals. It's basically social media for working professionals all over the world, and as you can see, there are over 660 million users. Most LinkedIn members are located here in the US, but there are large numbers scattered throughout the world, especially in Europe and China. LinkedIn is a digital resume with connections to employers, recruiters, and colleagues. Besides being a digital resume, LinkedIn is also a platform to search for jobs and internships, connect and network with professionals, and a learning platform where you can get the latest news and updates in your career field. So why use LinkedIn? For the simple fact that there are over 20 million companies and 14 million jobs on LinkedIn should be enough of a reason for job seekers to use this platform. This means employment opportunities for everyone. Also, 90% of recruiters, whether they're in human resources for a specific company, they are a third-party recruiting agency helping others with hiring, 9 out of 10 of them use LinkedIn to search for the right candidate. On the recruiter side, they have specific online tools and filters to search for the perfect candidate. Recruiters can filter their search using the keywords they are looking for. This could be particular skills, qualifications, or just industry-specific terminology. They can also search by geographic location, year experience, job titles, specific degrees, and more. This is why LinkedIn is considered the resume that sleeps. You can literally go to bed, and the next day you might get an email from a recruiter asking you if you're interested in a position. You consider applying for a position they have open. If they think you're a good fit, you might even get an interview without actually applying. LinkedIn is also great to have for when employers Google your name. Your LinkedIn account is usually the first web result that comes up in the search. Some students might ask, well, how is LinkedIn different from my resume? To start, your resume only allows you to have one page to describe your work experience and skills. LinkedIn gives you a lot more room to elaborate on your experience, skills, volunteer work, and project samples. You can even add images and videos of your work. It also allows you to show some personality and give you a chance to make a stronger first impression. As mentioned earlier, it allows employers and recruiters to contact you without having you applying for a job. With a standard resume, the employer can't contact you until you submit your resume. A tip I like to share is that if your resume is over one page or if it looks too crowded, take the least relevant information out and put it in your LinkedIn profile, then include your LinkedIn URL at the top of your resume. Another reason your resume is different is that your LinkedIn profile can show recommendations from peers, professors, coworkers, and former employers. I talked about recruiters Googling a candidate earlier. Well, on top of that, 75% of employers look at candidates' LinkedIn profile to learn more about their background before moving on with the hiring process. If you are not using LinkedIn, you're almost invisible to the professional world, especially if you are an active job seeker. Now that I've shared some information about what LinkedIn is and why it can benefit your career in the future, I'm going to cover the details for when it comes to creating your profile and what sections you should spending extra time on so that you can optimize your opportunities and utilization on LinkedIn. First, you want to upload a quality picture of yourself. LinkedIn profiles with photos get 21 times more views than ones that don't. Having a photo makes the whole experience real for you and other members and hiring officials. You want a high quality photo of you alone, professionally dressed and facing forward. You can even be dressed in your industry specific attire. If you work in healthcare or the medical field, wear your scrubs. If you are working in biotechnology, you can choose to wear your lab coat. If you are in architecture or construction, wear your safety vest and hard hat. For those who are graduating or have recently graduated, it's acceptable to wear your capping gown in your picture. Just make sure it's appropriate. You don't always need to be dressed in typical business attire. It goes without saying that you shouldn't upload any inappropriate photos. So this means no party pics, cartoon avatars, or even pictures with your pets. Those are all pretty obvious. Even if you're professionally dressed, you shouldn't use a selfie as a LinkedIn profile picture. Have someone take a photo for you. For some students, concerns about having their picture on a public platform can feel weird or uncomfortable. This is very normal, but we are now in a digital age, and it's important that we learn to adapt with the changes because more often than not, if we don't learn to adapt, we end up being left behind. Meeting people virtually is now the new normal and something we need to get used to. Don't forget to include a background photo. Your background photo should communicate your professional identity. It could be something simple like a picture of an office space or a city landscape of where you work. It can be something that your client or customer desires. It could be your company logo, landmark, or building. It can also be a photo of the people you serve or something that is used often in your line of work, such as tools, camera, computer, or even medical equipment. Underneath your profile picture will be your headline. You want to make sure you customize your headline with a short, memorable, professional slogan. Be sure to avoid any cliches or quotes. So nothing like, I always give 110%, willing to go above and beyond. Instead, you want to describe what you do and how you are different. Think of this. If you can only write one thing about yourself to the recruiter, what would you tell them? You can also use the alumni feature in LinkedIn and see what others in your field are writing. The alumni feature can be found on any college or university's LinkedIn page, which I will demonstrate later. By default, if you don't customize your headline, it will use your current job title and your current employer, such as bank teller at Wells Fargo or medical assistant at UCSF. If you're not working, it will say student at City College of San Francisco. Here are some of the examples. Honor student seeking challenging lab tech position. This next one's a little bit different and the key words in this student's industry, which is computer science. Software development student, job C++, UI UX, 2020 grad. And the last one's a little bit more advanced. Market researcher for professional service firms. Study, let's chat. Okay, moving on to the summary or the About Me section. This is the most important part of your profile because it's the number one thing recruiters look at. Think of your summary as your story. You can add color and personality to your experience and discuss your future career goals, which is something you cannot do in your resume. Be concise about your experience and include what motivates you and what you're skilled at. Think about what makes you unique. Use keywords, phrases, and terms that are well known in your industry. Think of your summary like the first few paragraphs of your best written cover letter. One strategy for this is to look at a few job descriptions you are interested in and mirror the keywords and the skills listed there. Make sure to write in first person. A great approach to writing a summary is describing how you solve problems. Think about what steps you take or what your approach or methodology is when you see a problem and you're looking at different ways on how to solve it. Here are some additional tips for writing your summary. Start by developing a sentence on what career interests you have and what drives you most about your ideal career. Then, list your areas of expertise by including core competencies or skill set most relevant to your role or industry. Lastly, list any notable accomplishments that you'd like to repeat in the next chapter of your career or education. If you want to use headings and subheadings to organize your summary, that's okay too. The easiest way to get started on your summary is being straightforward. I recommend using this formula here, so pay close attention. Start with, I have years of experience in blank. I am trained in blank, and I am an expert in blank. Let me repeat that one more time. I have blank years of experience in blank. I am trained in blank, and I'm an expert in blank. That's a good place to start, then build from there. Highlight your areas of interest. Your areas of interest can be specific industries such as healthcare, manufacturing, or travel and tourism. Or they can be categorical such as retail, B2B, or tech startups. In the absence of real world experience, emphasize your classroom skills. Employers know that college students, interns, and recent graduates will lack real world experience. Still, you don't want to overlook your customer service experience you gained while waiting tables or working retail. Highlight your coursework, group projects, and even your GPA to show the employer that you're ready for the workforce. After you've written and edited your summary, review it and look for keywords that are relevant to your profession. The work experience section is just like your resume. Just list the jobs you've held and a brief description of your responsibilities and what you accomplished. Be descriptive and use positive action words. Remember, a list of positive action words can be found on page 12 of the resume handbook. And of course, you want to quantify your experience by using percentages, numbers, and dollar amounts. Don't forget to use the formula PAR, which stands for problem or project, action, and result. I recommend reviewing job postings that you're interested in to find commonly used words and phrases and use those bullet points listed in the job description to develop your own bullet points. Then incorporate them into your own work experience section. If you have limited work experience, I encourage you to think more broadly about your experience. You can include volunteer experience or school activities. You can also list organizations you've been involved with or support, include any awards or honors you've received. You can also list classes, languages, certifications, or team projects that demonstrate the skills you've acquired. LinkedIn gives you a space where you can show off your achievements, experience, courses, GPA, and test scores. You can even add work projects, photos, videos, and other file. In your skills section, list at least 5 relevant skills. This will get you 31 times more views than ones that don't. Ask peers, professors, coworkers, and other connections to endorse your skills. In the past, most recruiters like to call this section fluff, but now LinkedIn can test you on certain skills and give you a badge for it. However, the tests are only for more technical skills such as computer programming, multimedia editing, and data analytics. But there are some more universal skills tests for Microsoft Office. The downside with the skills endorsement is that anyone can click on them and there's no real validation process to ensure the LinkedIn profile aligns with the endorsed skills. Recommendations, on the other hand, tend to carry more weight, especially if it's from someone you've worked with. Ask your connections to write a recommendation for your profile viewers to see. The best profiles have at least one recommendation. Make sure your recommendations are well written and reflect who you are as a professional. You can make it easier for your recommender by giving them some key talking points, important skills, or qualifications that you would like them to focus on in your recommendation. Be sure to include soft skills throughout your profile, whether it's in your About Me, work experience, or skills section. Though you can't be tested or earn a badge for soft skills, it's still important to include them. Job seekers emphasize their technical skills. 59% of employers actually struggle to find candidates who can work collaboratively, be adaptive, have leadership skills, and organizational skills and multitasking. A balance of soft skills and technical skills can really strengthen your profile. Claim your custom URL. LinkedIn lets you claim a vanity URL, which looks like linkedin.com/in/your full name. If you don't customize your LinkedIn URL, it'll likely be very long with lots of numbers at the end of it. This will make it difficult to remember and for you to include at the top of your resume. You can change your LinkedIn URL up to 5 times in 6 months if needed. LinkedIn recommends using a URL that is a combination of your name and your profession, such as linkedin.com/in/Jane Doe engineer. You can use 5 to 30 characters for your URL, but symbols and special characters are not allowed. Now that you know how to build out your profile, it's time to learn how to connect with people. Your connections should be people who are doing what you want to do or work for a company you want to work for. Start with students or alumni from your college and your desired job or career. Always personalize your connections. This can be done by sending connection requests from a person's profile. The person is much more likely to approve your connection request if you include a personalized message. I've taken a screenshot of what a personalized connection can look like. Hi, Jimmy. It was so lovely to meet you today and learn more about how your experience led you into career counseling. It's always great to hear a success story, and I'm so glad you found fulfilling work. I would love to keep in touch via LinkedIn. If you don't know someone personally, but want to connect with them, give that person a reason to connect with you. Introduce yourself and say something about why their work or business resonates with you. Talk a little bit about what you can bring to the table and then thank them for their consideration. Joining groups is a great way to connect with new people. These are virtual professional communities. By joining groups, you will learn the real lingo of the industry you are in. Generally speaking, the best time to connect with people is shortly after meeting with them, whether it's over the phone, online, or in person. Get into that habit. Lastly, if there's someone you want to connect with but you haven't met personally, check if you have any connections in common. If you do, ask your mutual connection for an introduction. Networking is an important aspect of being on LinkedIn and is essentially the reason to connect with other members. Studies have shown that 85% of its LinkedIn users found jobs through networking. People tend to get jobs through their connections rather than through direct friends or colleagues. You've all heard the saying before, it's not what you know, but who you know. And that holds true in today's world of work. Networking should be an ongoing activity even after you found a job. It's important to be helpful, foster relationships and connections to others because you never know when you'll need someone to return the favor. Here's a quick networking tip. Post content and acknowledge the content of others by liking their post and commenting to start a conversation. Then follow up with an invite to connect or direct message telling that person why their post spoke to you. Overall, your network is what you make of it, whether it's just to keep in touch, generate leads for jobs, or to even change careers. These relationships only have as much value as you put into them. Content companies and groups. In addition to networking and job search, LinkedIn serves as a learning platform where you can gain a deeper understanding of your industry. Being active on LinkedIn can help you learn, grow, and find your way. You can follow hundreds of influencers who share their advice for success. There are many different channels to get news and perspectives on industries you are interested in. Search for and follow some companies or nonprofits you are interested in. LinkedIn's mission is to help people progress, be productive, and be successful. And the best way to do that is to learn more and be an expert in your field. I recommend spending 15 minutes a day participating in group discussions or on your newsfeed. You never know what sort of information can come up that you might be able to use or the relationships you might be able to build. By being an active participant, it can help you get noticed. So this concludes the presentation portion of the lecture. I will now move on to the demo to share with you a few of the features I discussed in the presentation. When you first sign in, this will be your newsfeed. Your newsfeed is where you'll see what the people you're following and the influencers and companies and connections will be sharing. The first LinkedIn feature I'd like to talk about is the alumni feature. And you can access the alumni feature by either typing in the school or college, the other way to access the alumni feature is to go down to your education section. Once you are on the LinkedIn page of the college, you will find the Alumni tab on the left-hand side. By using the Alumni feature, you can search through thousands of alumni by keyword or by these filtering options created by LinkedIn. These filtering options include where they live, where they work, what they do, what they studied, what they're skilled at, and how you are connected. A reason to use this alumni feature is if you wanted to connect with someone from your college who is in the same career field as you. Let me show you how it's done. First, I want to find someone who lives in the Bay Area. As far as where they worked, that's not important to me. So I'm going to go to next. But for what they do, that might be more of an interest for me. Let's say I'm interested in healthcare services. And then, in regards to what they've studied, I'm interested in being a medical or clinical assistant. In regards to what they are skilled at or how we're connected, that's not important to me. So now LinkedIn has filtered through the over 50,000 alumni to narrow it down to 86 alumni through the filter criteria that I have chosen. Now you can scroll down and see which LinkedIn members match the criteria of your search. From the results, you can see the name of the LinkedIn member and you can see their headline. Based on their headline, that might be a hint for you to choose or to view that LinkedIn member's profile. Because I was interested in medical assisting, I'm going to click on Dung's. If I was a student who's interested in medical assisting and wanted to talk to someone about their career field, this is one way to do it. If I wanted to connect with Dung, I can click on the connect button and then add a note to personalize my message and let her know why I'm interested in connecting with her. The next feature I'd like to talk about is editing your own LinkedIn URL. You can do this by going to your profile page and then clicking Edit Public Profile and URL in the top right-hand side. Then you can click on this little pencil icon to edit your own URL. Once you're done editing your URL, be sure to click Save. The next LinkedIn feature that I'd like to demo is your job preferences. You can do this right underneath your profile picture by clicking this pencil button here. You want to edit your job preferences to the job titles that you're interested in pursuing. For me, I've only included career counselor because that's the only job title I'm interested in. For some of you, you might be interested in multiple job titles. You also might be interested in different job locations. I only have San Francisco Bay Area. You also want to edit your start date. For some of you, you're flexible and you're just casually browsing, but for others, you might be actively applying for jobs and looking for an immediate open position. You also want to edit your job type. Be sure to click all the job types that you're interested in working in. Lastly, you want to choose who see your job preferences. I recommend just sharing your job preferences with recruiters only. The reason for that is because you might be connected with other members, such as current supervisors or colleagues, and you don't want them to see that you're open to work. Once you're done, be sure to click Save. If you don't want to include any of your job preferences, then you can delete this section from your profile. Next, I want to talk about the skills and endorsements section of your profile. Scroll down to your skills section. And this is where you can include different soft skills or key technical skills in your line of work. You can also take the skills quiz if there are any quizzes that align with your career. To view the different quizzes, click on Take Skill Quiz. LinkedIn will have some recommended quizzes for you, but you can also browse through the quizzes by scrolling. To earn a badge, you must score at least 80%, and the results are private unless you want to share them. If you want to conduct a job search, then you can click on the jobs icon at the top of your LinkedIn screen. From here, you just need to type in the type of job you're looking for and the location. And then you can use all these different filtering options to narrow down your job search. Another way you can network with others and leverage LinkedIn to work in your benefit is seeing the different connections for the job openings. For example, if I was interested in working as a bookkeeper, I would click this job and see what kind of connections are related to this job. It looks like I have one connection related to this particular position. If I was interested in this position, I would contact Marlon, who is someone I went to high school with, and inquire about the job. This is where having connections are so valuable. The last feature I want to demo is how to search for groups. You can do this by going up to the search bar and clicking the magnifying glass. After clicking the magnifying glass, click on the More drop-down menu. Here you can find content, different companies, schools, and groups. LinkedIn will automatically suggest groups for me based on my career field. But if you wanted to search for different groups, you can search for the groups in the search box. I'm going to search for accounting in group. Here you can see lots of different groups for those who are in accounting and finance. This is a great way to build your community within your career industry. Let's take a look at the first one. Scroll down to read more about the group. This group is a forum for sharing knowledge, discussions, networking, business associations, seeking career advice, and exploring job opportunities, comments, and information resources for accounting and financial professionals. By joining groups, you can really start building your connections and building your network for those who are in similar career fields and have like-minded interests as you do. So there you have it. We just covered some LinkedIn basics to get you started on your own LinkedIn profile, as well as some important features on LinkedIn that will help you with job search and networking. You can now move on to the next part of the module.